Hey, it's Carlo here. Welcome to the Weekend Wisdom. This week I want to tackle 100x multipliers. What I mean by that is there are things like, think of the 80-20 principle, right? The Pareto principle. 20% of the things you do are responsible for 80% of your results. So, are we paying attention to where our energy goes? And if we are, what are those things that are in that 20%? Like, what are the things that I could do? If I do this thing, I get a significantly greater disproportionate output for the energy I put in, versus if I put my energy in this other thing, I only get a little bit of output. So, give you an example. If I want to pull a tooth, let me make this dental for you. I take my fingers and I grab the second molar on the bottom and I start wiggling. Or I grab a forceps and I start wiggling, which is going to be easier, right? Input of energy, totally different output of energy because I'm changing what I'm doing, okay? So I want you to think that way with your actions. So I'm going to give you a list today of my top 10 multipliers whereby I believe if you do these things, your input of energy will be exponential on the other end when we look at the output curve, okay? So there are 10 things, and some of these things are going to be a little bit, you won't expect this, but trust me, these are the things I believe are going to be your greatest leverage points in your life and in your career. The first, no alcohol. What the hell's that got to do with dentistry? Well, it doesn't. It does to do with everything. I haven't had alcohol in probably 6-7 years. Reason why? What I do every day, I realize that if I'm sharp, if I'm focused, if I can think quickly, like you ever find yourself, you have a long weekend, you go out, you have fun, you have friends over, and you have a little too much to eat, a little too much to drink. Your Monday morning, do you ever find yourself like a little slower, a little sluggish, like struggling for words, like things take you longer, right? You don't want to live in that state. How productive can you be in that state? If you cut out crap, like alcohol is probably a huge one because it's literally killing your brain, then you're going to be sharper, you're going to be clearer, you're going to be focused, you're going to be ready to play when it's game time. So it's probably one of the easiest things you could cut out. Opt for something else. Okay? The next thing, sleep. Sleep is huge. Totally underrated. Oh, 5 hours of sleep is enough. No, it's not. Depends what level of game you want to play. The higher the level of game you want to play, the more important these things are. Hundreds of books written on this. Okay, you don't need to take it from me, but I can tell you there's a vast difference from when I sleep 6 hours, 7 hours, or 8 hours. Okay, my focus, my speed, the cognitive speed, the ability for me to get things done is a totally different game if I've slept enough, okay? And you know what your body needs. Your body will tell you. But you should be waking up in the morning like pretty well without an alarm, energized and ready to go for the day. If you're dragging your ass out of bed, it's not enough sleep for you. You can't work in sleep deprivation mode and expect to be creative and build the best business that you can and be the best leader you can and grow the best team. It's not going to happen, okay? The third thing, eat healthy. Means different things to everyone. But I'll tell you right now, for me, if I'm strictly gluten-free, no sugar, no crap, no within reason, it's a totally different world for me. I have unlimited energy. I can literally just focus for a whole entire day at my desk, get tons of things done. This is how I produce all this content. Some of you guys ask me, how do you get all this stuff done in a day? It's crazy how much energy you have to put into these things. Yeah, if you've seen me at events, I'll speak for 2 straight days, and I endeavor to have the same energy at 8:30 a.m. that I do at 6 p.m. And the reason is I'm paying attention to these things. I'm not sitting there at night in the lobby bar putting them back. I'm completely clean in my diet most of the time. Most of the time because I'll take a cheat day on the weekend, but I'll tell you the next day I don't feel the same. So I need to be focused, clear, and ready to give my best to my client base, to the few patients I still see, and to other businesses I'm involved in. I want to play at the highest level. I don't want to play some amateur shit. I don't have time for that. So this is really, really critical. I don't know what it means to you, but most of you have some common sense understanding of what is garbage that you should not be eating, because garbage in, garbage out, right? If you want to be energetic, you want to have, start thinking about longevity, right? Like I turned 40 recently. Well, I'd like to put in another, 60 years would be nice, right? What is it going to take for me to get there, right? Like, I don't want to be old and sick. I want to be old and healthy. I want to be like, really in the game for a long time. I've got a lot of work to do still. So, to me that means, these certain things. I say gluten-free because for me it's a big deal. I noticed that was one of the hugest things. I used to have glasses at one time. Big, thick glasses I needed after my injury in 2012. And I went gluten-free strictly. It took me about a year to figure it out. My vision went back to perfect. My knees used to bother me when I ran. No issues. So systemic inflammation went down substantially. Now, it doesn't mean everyone that watches this has to go gluten-free, but do the research. Like, figure it out. See a naturopathic doctor as a different opinion. Maybe you have some sensitivities to things. Not allergies, but they're sensitivities. Well, from your own dental training, like just think perio, right? Systemic inflammation equals disease of some variety. Well, maybe it's not just the gum disease that you see. Maybe there's systemic inflammation elsewhere, like in your gut. Think about those things. Do some research. Okay? I'll leave that one alone, but do some homework on it. The next thing is, and I used to think this was like, crazy, but meditation. Why do the number one practice of billionaires that's consistent across the board is meditation? Some time to focus and think, to get really clear on your intentions, setting your intentions. And I'm not going to teach you meditation in this video, obviously, but you can learn that from a lot of places and a lot of people, but think about it as a really important thing to consider. Why? Because if most billionaires will spend the time to do this, and you think about what an hour of their time is worth, okay? I'm talking even just 20, 30 minutes. You don't have to do it for an hour. If you think about what's the hourly value of someone who earns $1 billion a year, and they're going to take time out of their day, every day, to do this, should you consider it? Yeah, definitely. I've talked about this at length at some of our events, so I won't get into it too deeply, but I'll tell you right now, this is another area that from a personal health standpoint is huge, and not just from personal health, but business perspective, because it really helps you to get clear and focused as part of your morning routine. The next thing is, I don't care what anyone thinks. And I haven't really for a very long time, but it's something that if you're making your business decisions or living your life based on what people are going to say or think, like, we can't do that because people will say this, or I don't want to do that because my friend down the street might not talk to me at the dental association meeting. Like, no, screw what everyone thinks. You do your own thing. You play your own game, okay? Don't break the law, but otherwise, like, who cares what people think? You're here to fulfill your purpose, not everyone else's. So don't care what people think, because quite honestly, if you get rid of that, never mind who likes my post on Facebook and all that shit, you free up so much of your brain energy to focus on the things that actually matter, not the opinions that don't, okay? So get rid of that stuff. There isn't a dentist in my town when I had my, extremely successful practice that liked me, okay? Still, they don't like me, but, especially then we were mopping the floor with everyone. Nobody liked me, and I didn't care, right? It wasn't like, I shouldn't grow too big. Maybe we shouldn't put in that 17th chair because the guy won't. I don't care what anybody says, okay? Still to this day, I'll bet you if I go to a dental association meeting, I'd probably silence the room, and it would be just whispers. But so what? Who cares? I did what I did, and I'm proud of what I did. Patients loved it. It was the largest practice in the area by far. You know, when you add 14,000 patients in a 5-year span, I guess that pisses people off. But anyway, see, who cares? If you don't care, you can do anything, right? There's no limits. The only limits are yours, your self-imposed limits. The next thing is, again, obvious, but you're not doing it. Exercise. Do something every day. Ideally every day, at least 5 days a week. Doesn't have to be extreme, okay? Now, I'm telling you right now, don't get on a treadmill for an hour. That's not as effective. High intensity interval training, okay? 15 minutes, 30 minutes max is all you need. You can do 15 minutes a day. Very easy, right? Look up Tabata routines, like a 15-minute or 10-minute Tabata routine in the morning. Tabata is Tabata. Just a high intensity interval training. If you do something like that, just your body weight for, you know, as part of your morning routine, gets you moving, gets your creativity going, gets your blood pressure up a little, gets you sweat. You sleep better, you think better. Your body just generally operates better. You need to have that energy, that burn off, and quite honestly, it will just help you sleep better and keep you sharper, okay? Never mind the obvious physical benefit, you know, to your heart and such. So the next thing is, I'll start a new list over here. Read books. Read books, okay? If you look at the most successful people, there's a saying that successful people have big libraries, poor people have big TVs, okay? And I believe that to be very true. The person who has a great big screen TV, that watches TV every night, is going to be the average employee making a shitty salary, unhappy with where they are, and so on. The successful people, the really, really successful people, have vast libraries of books that they've read, most of them at least, some of them more than once. So have something that you're working on a regular basis, okay? The more you read, the more you learn, the more ideas you get. It keeps you thinking, keeps you on your toes, okay? The next thing is, talked about this stuff in our previous video, but never mind the news, never mind politics, never mind whatever the flavor is right now. Nothing positive sells on news, okay? So it's all negative crap that isn't going to matter in 6 days, let alone 6 months, okay? Get rid of it. Forget about it. Stop paying attention to it. It's all crap, okay? It doesn't matter to you because there are things you cannot control. You're only paying attention to the things you can control in your life. Forget about all that shit, especially politics. I mean, good Lord. Another one of my favorites. No social media. Get rid of it. Get rid of it all. Let go of all of it. And to that degree, I'm going to add even social conventions, some of the basics. Someone sends me an email. I got to respond to it today. No, I don't. Well, that's the kind of rude, isn't it? Well, not really. I don't need to do some of the things that other people expect me to do just because that's what they would do. Well, you kind of look like an ass if you do that. Well, no, I don't think so. When did it become that just because it's digital communication, I have to respond immediately? If someone picked up the phone and I didn't answer, they leave a message, I'd call them back. If someone leaves me an email, now I'm expected to respond instantly? Why? Because my phone's going to ding? No, it doesn't. I don't have it set that way. I don't have my phone on me a lot of times. So never mind this like constant attachment to shit and everyone's like ability to intrude on your life, okay? That's craziness. If you think back 10 years ago, you didn't have a cell phone. How connected were you to people? I went to visit them. I called them on the phone. We got together. Like once a week kind of thing. Now, every time someone farts, they need to like text 5 people and send social messages and never mind, okay? It's distractions, just distractions. I check my email once a day. I respond to my emails once a day. That's enough. If you missed my once a day by 1 minute, I'll check it next 24 hours. Don't worry, I'll get to you, right? But there's a reason. If you want to be effective and you want to have a 10x multiplier input-output, then you have to be like, you have to have some structure to your life. It can't just be everyone else's crap coming at you. So never mind, like, I couldn't tell you anything about any sport right now. I used to follow hockey very religiously, like loved hockey, okay? I don't even know what the hell's, I haven't watched a hockey game in years. All those things gone, right? Hanging out with friends. No, not time for any of that stuff. I mean, I have friends that I hang around with occasionally, but there's a different group of people that don't have that neediness like it was previously, right? That probably doesn't come off very well when you hear that, but that's me. I want this. I only have one shot at this game, right? We only get one shot at this game. And depending on what you believe, who knows if you get another one, but I'm not going to spend it sitting around drinking beer kind of thing. Like, I want to do what I want to do. And I want to do a lot of that. Forget the rest of it, okay? So, again, all of this really comes down to this last point. Developing discipline. In discipline, there is freedom, okay? In the structure, there is freedom. It's counterintuitive, but trust me, if you think this through, if I put the discipline in place, I can move mountains. I can go 100x on my input-output equation. I can put in the same energy as you, and I can get 100 times output greater than you because I'm paying attention to these things and I'm disciplined. I can work really hard for a while and get a huge result that then allows me to have freedom instead of working mediocre forever without the freedom. That's the difference, okay? There's freedom in the discipline. There's freedom in the structure. You feel like, oh, too much discipline, it confines me. I feel like I can't breathe. No. Think about the end result. You're thinking too short term. Think long term, okay? See, nobody wants to talk about what it looks like before success, right? It's easy to look at, oh, successful now. I got a picture with my Lamborghini and I fly in private jets and da. What did it look like before that? Okay, when I was post-injury, 2012, when my practice was doing okay-ish, you know what it took to triple that practice in 3 years? I worked my butt off. I had absolute discipline. I was up at 4 a.m. I was like working my butt off. I'd practice, I'd go home, I'd put in another shift, okay? My family knows what that looked like because they didn't know what I looked like for a few years. But at the end of it, what came was incredible freedom. Things changed substantially. Now, if you guys are in our programs, you don't have to figure that out. I put in all that time to create it in the first place. Test it, break it, recreate it, test it again, and so on. Now you just get it. Well, that's nice. I wish I had that. But that's what it took to build it. Nobody wants to talk about what it takes to build stuff. They just want to talk about, let's go have fun and whatever. You gotta, if you want freedom at the end of the day, if you really want the lifestyle, practice life, and all of this that we talk about, you don't just like wake up one day and have it, or you don't just stumble into it. You gotta create that. So if you don't build discipline into your life, you're never gonna have freedom. You think you have freedom by not having discipline. That's bullshit. You're just now stuck to whatever you're doing, whether you like it or not, forever. That's the difference. So 100x multipliers, there's lots of things here to think about. Which of these makes sense to you? Which have you strayed in? Are there lots of things in your life that are out of balance? I don't know. But you have the list. Look at it. If more than half of this list is affecting you, then get to work because you're going to notice some significant freedom if you start to build in a discipline, right? Oh, it's hard to eat right. It's hard to not eat that chocolate, whatever, that glazed donut sitting on your desk that someone brought you. It's tough to get up an extra half an hour earlier and build meditation in your morning routine. Well, I really do kind of care about what people think. What do you want? What do you want at the end of the day, right? Do you want freedom by putting in some discipline, or do you just want to have pretend freedom now for a few years, realize later when it's too late and have the regrets that you didn't put in enough discipline in the beginning to get the freedom you actually wanted, right? So hopefully that one makes sense. I'll see you guys next week.